Hello, and welcome back to Brazen. And I want to say first and foremost, thank you very much for your patience. I know it's been a little bit since we have chatted and since I've put out any new episodes, any new videos. And we're going to talk to you today about why. So it's going to be a really big episode. I'm absolutely going to cry. I'm on the verge of the tears right now. But I have my incredible friend and also an amazing nurse and a huge advocate for so many human beings. Kendra George is here with me. She was kind enough to come with me today and talk to you guys and support me while we had this conversation. So before we get into anything, Kendra, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, so my name's Kendra. I am a critical care and trauma nurse by trade. I was a trauma nurse primarily first, and then I was a travel nurse, which is how I met Heather originally, like 10 years ago. We became fast friends, fire and gasoline. Um, and that ended up leading me through the COVID process into ICU nursing. I'm an ICU nurse now by trade, and I've also been working recently with our palliative team, which is like a case management, like multidisciplinary team, which has been really, really good. It's been a great education experience. I just want to preempt that because some of my opinions and some of the things I share with you today kind of come from that foundation. But I'm
Yeah.
so thankful to be a friend of Heather's. I love her so very much. And I do believe that there's a piece of each of our souls that probably live in each other.
I would agree. I love you so much too. And thank you so much for being here today.
Mhm.
So let's just say it. I'm going to try. I'm on the verge of tears. So on April 21st, Travis and I found out that I had been diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer. Well, it's already happening. Um, for anybody that has any education on breast cancer or has been affected by it, which most probably have, I did not know until this journey that 1 in 2 people um, have cancer or will get cancer in their life. And that statistic is absolutely mind blowing to me. But if you have any information or education on breast cancer, you know that this is the one you don't want. This is the one that's a bit more difficult. And that's what we were told. I have come to believe, as well as Travis and probably Kendra as well on our journey, and many of my friends and family, this is the one we're grateful for. Um, Triple negative simply just means that when they tested to see what caused this or what is feeding this, what is pouring into it to help it grow or spread, there are certain things, there are certain hormones specifically that they're looking for. And when you have triple negative as a diagnosis, that simply means that all of those came back as negative. So triple negative means we don't know what this is. We don't know. We have no idea. Um, that makes it a lot harder to target. That makes it a lot more difficult with certain types of treatments. We found out very quickly that in most cases where people do standard of care with those type of statistics, when you do standard care of chemo and radiation with triple negative, it actually aggravates it. It creates more of an aggressive situation. Sometimes it works really, really well. Sometimes it doesn't. So we initially were told that I was stage 2, but of course that's because they did the mammogram and you can only see a titty in a mammogram. You can't see the whole body. So when we did further testing, they said, no, actually, you're stage 4. We did have one opinion. We went to several surgeons. We had one opinion that I had a situation where it had metastasized into stage 4 in that short amount of time. And after speaking to a surgeon that we felt much more comfortable with, and we felt that she was much more educated on all of this, it was no, we just didn't see everything because we didn't do the testing to see it all. This was probably stage 4 to begin with. Let me take a drink and a breath.
You're doing a great job.
I
I know this
appreciate
is
you.
really hard. You're doing so good.
Thanks.
I think, while she takes a second, I can just
Thank you.
say, I think that this is why self-testing is so important. I know that that's a big nursing whatever, but something that I found out throughout this journey and research is that some people believe that this could potentially be a genetic attachment to the BRCA gene, which some people, have a history of. And something else that I have found out is that maternal or paternal prostate cancer can also be a preemptive for potential testing. So if you or your family have had, if your family members have had breast cancer in the past, mother, aunts, grandmothers, if fathers and uncles, grandparents have had prostate cancer, these are great reasons to try to get tested early, to try to do mammograms early and do self-testing on yourself.
Yeah.
Just to throw that out there while you gathered yourself.
Yeah, thank you for all of that from every angle. I didn't know that about the prostate cancer piece at
Yeah,
all.
so a couple of my friends who were treated with breast cancer at Siteman actually were told. Siteman is a oncology center in St. Louis. It's in the greater area, kind of where I live at. I've had a few different friends treated for breast cancer there that were told that. Which makes sense. I think we always think about the maternal side of women, but we don't think that we're two parts of genes. Our fathers and grandfathers' genes come into that too, and prostate cancer can potentially be a marker. So just another reason for people to do early testing.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's so informative. Thank you. And to speak about the BRCA gene, so one of the many tests that we've done is full genetic panel. They have, the genetic panel that they do for BRCA and a few, not a few, several other things. We advocated to have the entire big boy done. Like, I want to know everything. I want to know how my body metabolizes vitamin C. I want to know everything. So that way I can support my body right now and as I move forward in life. And we actually found out I do not have any of the BRCA 1 or 2, which makes it even more interesting because if you get triple negative, which is pretty rare, and then you also don't have BRCA 1, BRCA 2 mutations, that's even more rare. And that's important because of what I'm going to talk to you guys about today, because just to put this out there, we're not taking the traditional route. And that's scary at times. But what's more scary to me, and I say this from my perspective, cancer is a very particular, very sensitive space, and it's a very personal choice. So do know that if you have taken the standard of care treatments and you're on that path, I support the fuck out of you. Everybody should do what they need to do for themselves and do what's best for them and their body. Always, always, always. For me, my gut, my intuition, my instincts were telling me no from the very beginning. There were times where fear took over without doubt. What's bigger than fear? Is there a feeling bigger than fear, like petrified? Um, I went through some spirals. Sometimes I had to send Kendra voice clips and call her. There were times when I thought about doing chemo and radiation, but I'm a big believer of educating yourself and advocating for yourself and researching and gathering the information so you can make informed decisions. And the more information I gathered from reliable sources, I've lived on the National Library of Medicine's website. Travis and I have studied extensively on how other countries are helping people heal from cancer. We've spoke to doctors and nurses and so many people. And everything that I researched kept leading me back to the body's so intelligent and it can heal itself if you support it and you give it what it needs. And although chemo and radiation is this current standard of care, to me, it felt like, and still feels like, if you have a forest with one tree that's diseased and you burn the whole forest down instead of just helping the one tree. And that's how I felt. Again, there were times when I was terrified. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do what everybody's telling me to do. All the doctors are saying they know more than me. They have a better education than me. But I had to remember, and Kendra was one of the many people that helped me remember, nobody knows my body more than I do. Nobody knows my needs and what I need more than I do. And when you make decisions, something I fucking teach, I had to be reminded by Kendra so many times and my sister. If you make decisions out of fear, it's going to take you down a path that you don't want. So I had to make decisions with things I felt at peace with. And I'm going to talk to you guys about all the things that I'm doing. This is not medical advice from either of us. This is just me telling my story. And I'll be sharing resources. I'll be putting things in the show notes. Um, because I'm going to throw out there the really great news. The tumors are shrinking already. It has been since, I mean, we started the protocol. We found out on April 21st, and we had already started some things before then because we felt it, of course. We knew that there was something. We were hoping that it was just a big cyst that kind of happened overnight. Because it's the size of a big old egg. It's a pretty big one. So we started with protocol thinking it was a cyst, but quickly found out that it wasn't. So I would say the full protocol that we're doing, we probably started by April 23rd. Like we had everything in place by then. So in that short amount of time, it's June 10th right now. So in that amount of time, the tumors are shrinking. The one in my breast is shrinking little by little, but it started at 4.9 centimeters. So it was not small. They thought in the mammogram that it was 3, and they found out quickly that it was a mass that had a lot of other masses around it, and kind of had become part of it, which Kendra, you probably can speak to. I have no idea. I was like, okay, makes sense, I guess. And they did find that there's also one on my sternum. That started at 2.7 and it's 2.2 now. So very big change, which we're very excited about. They're also, I'm not saying one way or another, just in my experience, once the biopsy was done, it then traveled to my lymph node very quickly. I know I have been told by several surgeons that breast cancer is the only cancer that they consider that there's no way when you do a biopsy that it can travel. And I respect that. They have a medical background and I do not. But in my experience, if you have a balloon full of water and sparkles and you poke that balloon, those sparkles are going to go other places. It's going to spill out. And that's kind of what happened. I had no issues. And once the biopsy happened, it immediately was in my lymph. Could be synchronicity and whatever, but that's just, I deeply believe that it was important for me to have a biopsy so we knew what I was working with. Very important, one of the most important pieces of this, but it felt kind of like a double-edged sword, at least from my experience, because then now I have pain and the difficulty in my armpit. They have found some other spaces that lit up on the PET scan, including in my vaginal canal, more towards the uterus, and also on my left hip bone. So we are in a space that is a little bit scary at times, but we have an enormous amount of hope, maybe even delusionally, that this protocol is not only working already, but it will continue to work. And that has grown with the incredible amount of survivors who have done the more holistic, non-toxic route that I'm doing. And they are no evidence of disease, 5, 10, 15, 30. Recently, I found somebody who is 42 years of no evidence of disease, and they took fully holistic, and most of them have done, well, all of us have done things that are similar. I have gone hard. I've taken time away from work and I spend about 6 hours a day doing different things, different treatments, meditations, breath work, supplements, juicing, everything. So that's where we sit right now. Kendra, did I miss anything? Is there anything
No,
else?
no, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. Okay. So I think one thing that I want to do right now, earlier this week, I made the decision that it felt like it was time for me to put it out to the public. Travis and I decided in the beginning that the best way, especially because we don't live around everybody, all of our friends and family, we are moving back, which is quite a blessing that happened from this. But we decided that we were going to update people on Facebook that were friends and family because it was just the easiest way to do it. Something that was less stressful for us because we were getting a lot of phone calls and messages. And I'll be honest with you, in a situation like this, the last thing you want to do is have conversation after conversation about your diagnosis, because then it just makes it more and more and more real. And it's a lot. So grateful that everybody is just so supportive and loving and reaching out and all these things, but it became a lot. very quickly. So I'm going to read to you guys what I recently put out to Facebook and also on Instagram about where we are, what we're doing, how we feel right now. So give me just 1 second and I'm going to pull that up. Excuse me. All right. A longer read, well worth the time. My hope is that it helps and inspires at least one person. We are full of hope, deeply believe that my body is healing itself and are standing in empowerment. Recently, we were updated by our team that I'm considered to be stage 4 with metastatic triple negative breast cancer, and I'm inoperable. As anybody would be, I've been terrified at times. Lots of crying, some fear, and confusion on how this is even real. From day one, Travis and I knew I would heal. Again, maybe delusional, but we deeply believed that that was the end result no matter what. And we also knew that we would do it our way. We've researched daily, read all the books, lived on the National Library of Medicine's website, and studied how other countries are helping people successfully heal their bodies from cancer. And when I say successfully, just to put this out there, I'm not speaking to the success factors that we currently use in America with clinical trials, because one thing I've learned on this journey is when we have clinical trials done, success is measured not the way you think it would be. Success is sometimes measured if they lived but they're on life support. That's success because they're alive. If the tumor shrank but they died, that could be considered success because the tumor shrank. Success for us that we've been looking for is people that lived and had very good quality of life for a long time. That's how we are measuring success. Before we even got a full diagnosis, we started me on an intentional, personalized, holistic healing protocol that we developed with my amazing team, one that focuses on supporting my mind, body, and soul, and it's quite the list. Nutrition and supplements, only organic, raw/whole foods, juicing, fasting, mostly vegan with farm fresh eggs, etc. Tai Chi and Qigong, deep emotional healing through many modalities, therapies, and practitioners. Just so we're clear, if you have any question, there's a long list there. That's a very short way to describe that, but there's a lot there. If you're interested, I'm more than willing to share with anybody any of this. And we're doing this because, of course, we understand that disease is directly connected to the energy and the emotions that are trapped within us. Obviously, that's a huge piece of this. And just to kind of put this in there, one thing that I have learned on my journey when it comes to breast cancer with women, and this comes from German New Medicine, Ayurvedic, traditional Chinese medicine. This comes from all the other countries and what they're doing. Like, this is just kind of a mashup. Forgiveness and resentment. Those are the two big things with breast cancer. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving God, and any resentment that you have carried towards someone that it's time to forgive. And the resentment is usually linked to betrayal. So if you're moving through this journey, please consider leaning into a healing modality if you feel called to it that leads you down that path. Please do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. Never follow anything blindly. That's what Kendra and I were just talking about before we pressed record. But just know that in all the research I've done, that's a really big part of breast cancer. We've also been doing frequency healing and similar modalities, including PEMF. I actually purchased a PEMF mat because we do twice a week, sometimes more round trips, about 6 hours for treatment right now. And one of the holistic treatments is PEMF. So I purchased a mat. I did get a smaller one because that alone was $350. The big ones are about $1,200. So if anybody's interested, please let me know and I'll send those. PEMF is really incredible for so many things, not just cancer. And recently it was FDA approved. Side note, not that I really care if something's FDA approved, but just to say it is FDA approved and they've been using it for brain cancer. I lay on my mat, which also has proton modalities as well. It's a heating mat. And I lay on it between 1 and 3 hours, which is usually recommended for any type of cancers. I've also been doing Rife machine, sound healing, energy healing, shamanic healing, many, many other things. I do breath work and meditation, of course, high dose vitamin C IVs, repurposed medication. I'm just putting this out there. I'm absolutely taking ivermectin and fenbendazole. I know that that is, for whatever weird reason, it can be a little controversial. And I just want to say, whether you believe that cancer can sometimes or is all the time a parasite, or whether you just see it from the perspective that medications always can do more than we think that they can do. Like, for instance, I don't know if it was Kendra or somebody else that told me this, that medication for anxiety actually helped people stop smoking. They realized that it helped do that. Medications don't just do one thing, they can do many. So fenbendazole, ivermectin, menbendazole, these things that I'm using, again, not medical advice here, but yeah, some cancers are seen as parasitic. Absolutely. And the medicine does more than just parasite cleansing. I also do hyperbaric oxygen chambers, red light therapy, and much, much more. And I put in the post big letters, and the tumors are shrinking. Having the courage to face this has been a lot, and having the courage to do it in a way that feels best to our hearts and what we know is best for me and my body, and to advocate for myself and our current medical system has been even more to handle. It's such a deeply personal choice, especially with a diagnosis like this. And we know that we've made the right choice for me by choosing the path less traveled of non-toxic treatments. This isn't the choice that everyone would make, but it is the only decision that brought us peace and felt right to us. We are continuing to add more types of non-toxic treatment and supports into my protocol and are seeing wonderful results. And for anybody that's ever done this, you'll laugh at this as much as we did. And it would be great if insurance would cover any of it if someone wants to write a letter to UHS or UHC for us, because unless you do standard of care, the insurance does not cover anything, which one day will change, I do believe. Finding an enormous amount of survivors who healed their bodies in the same way, some who were in much more dire situations than myself, has been the biggest blessing of all. One that has brought even more hope and faith into our lives. Men and women who took the path less traveled and are thriving now with no evidence of disease in their body and no reoccurrences, which is usually what you see with chemo and radiation, which is another reason we chose not to do that. They are 5, 10, 15, 30, and like I said, 42 years out with complete remission. We know and understand the diagnosis. However, I refuse to claim it. I do not have cancer, and it does not have me. I am healing from it. And one day, very soon, I will be completely healed. Kendra, I'm going to pass it on to you right now, girl,
Yes,
because I got to take a second.
absolutely. I think the two things I want to focus most on, especially about her protocol, is cancer. You know, as we understand it, and mind you, my history does not come with an oncology anything. I'm a nurse at baseline. I'm not an oncologist. I'm not an oncology nurse of that. But most layman people's understanding of cancer is that it is cells that have the inability to terminate. So they are just replicating over and over and over again. So I think the two highlights I have, especially about her protocol, is a lot of times chemo and radiation kill the cell. We can also starve the cell. So there's a lot of good research out about diet and the way that diet affects and feeds cancer, especially sugars, especially caffeines and things like that. And I think that diet is something that we're going to see in the next few years really being part of most protocols when it comes to. And I think that a lot of oncologists likely would agree that diet changes really do help with the treatments of cancer. The second thing I want to hit on is the ivermectin. So, you know, ivermectin I know is a big stigma. I don't know why it's a stigma. I think I have my own personal opinions about why there is bad information out there. But I encourage you to do your own research. So something that we can include, and I'm going to send to Heather, is actual clinical trials currently being done by actual oncologists for breast cancer in relation to ivermectin and fenbin. So the way that these drugs are working is they are working on the proliferation or the replication. They're causing issues with the endothelium or the outside of the cell being able to stay stay intact. And so they're leading to cell death in relation to that. Now, people want to say, oh, ivermectin is horse medicine. Well, so is penicillin. And
Yeah.
penicillin works great in many types of bacterial infections. I think if these things are done under recommendation of a physician, I think if there's protocol and dosing in place, I do think that there are good evidence-based practice out that these are making a difference. No, we are not recommending that you just go to Rural King or Tractor Supply and drinking a certain amount of ivermectin, whichever you feel is the daily dose. But I would recommend that you look into these evidence-based studies and that you potentially look at these ivermectin protocols because there is good science out showing that they're making a difference. This wasn't just a decision that Heather made because she felt like she saw it on TikTok or she felt like, I don't know, like I hear maybe this. This was recommended to her by one of her providers. There is a protocol that she is following. And even though both of us have said we're not giving out any sort of medical advice here, my advice is to do your own research and get advice from the professionals and advocate for that. I do think that professionals are sometimes like parents. I think if the education that they were provided comes from a certain period of time, I think that they take that as truth. If you would have asked physicians 500 years ago about antibiotics and bacteria, they would have told you it was witchcraft. They would have
Yeah.
told you that no, of course, these infections come from somewhere else. I think we know a lot more about science and medicine today. And I think that cancer is similar and that we're always learning something different. And I think that to not be open minded to this potential treatment that is showing improvement in breast cancer cases, especially triple negative, I think we're doing our patients a disservice. So as we watch this and as you the watchers watch this, take it with a grain of salt. Try to hold back your own personal opinions until you look into it yourself. And definitely appreciate the decisions that people are making for their own bodies because there is some good evidence out to show that it's making a difference.
Agreed. Agreed. Thank you for all of that. And that has been the biggest piece for us. I think that at least in our experience thus far, especially advocating for myself in the current medical system has been very difficult. We have had very difficult appointments with surgeons and oncologists. We've also had great ones. I was telling Kendra, if you are ever able to go to Iowa City, there is a surgeon there and she is incredible. When I expressed to her that I just wanted to advocate for myself and I just wanted to have self-agency and I wanted to have autonomy of my own body and choose what is done to my body and how it's done. Especially in a situation like this, she was very clear that that makes total sense. It makes total sense for a human being, especially a woman, to want to have her own autonomy and to feel safe in her body and safe with her choices. So it's been, just like any other profession, any other thing in the world, some people have a lot of integrity and are very ethical. We have ran into some people that weren't. We've ran into people that, according to the code of ethics, especially according to what is it called? It's not a promise, it's something more than a promise, the do no harm that
Yeah.
providers, they were not, that was not the route they were taking. But you'll find that anywhere. It's not saying that doctors are bad or anything like that whatsoever. It's just saying that to understand that no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter what your profession is, some people are open-minded and will read and educate themselves beyond what they've been handed and told. And some won't. Some people like to live in a box. And that's okay. I'm just not, that's not me. So
Well,
where
and
do I want to start?
I like to think of it as like, and this is somebody who's worked in the system. So I've been in healthcare for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've ran across a lot of providers on a lot of type of specialties. They remind me, so I am 37. I'm not married. I don't have children. I've lived a lot of my life traveling and focusing on my career. When I was a younger person, my parents told me that if I didn't get married and have children young, that I was going to regret it. I think that a lot of these providers have information that that's what they've been taught. and they've been taught that if you don't do A, B, and C, that you're going to regret it. And I think that in their heart, I think everyone gets into medicine because they want to help others. I think
Yeah.
that piece of their soul still exists. I just
Yeah.
think they have this kind of rough way of going about it and being like, well, if you're not doing A, B, and C, well, then I told you so.
Yeah.
And you're going to regret it. And I think that that's the difference, is that I think there are people that are open minded and they want to say, okay, so you don't want a lifestyle where you get married and have children young. Like you can still have a life that is filled with quality and happiness and all of these things. And I think there are people out there that are willing to hear that about plan of care. I just think
Yeah.
that we have to advocate for ourselves. And I think we have to be willing and brave enough to get second and third and fourth opinions if we need to. But I don't think that the system is bad as a whole. I do think
Agreed.
the system is broken. I think that most everyone working in the system knows that it's broken. I think
Yeah.
we're hoping for a change. I think we're hoping for something to get better. I know that advocating the system is really, really difficult for people who are not inside of it. And even for some people who are inside of it. Um, I think the best thing you can surround yourself with is one, family and friends that love you and are going to be in your corner and say, yeah, tell them, advocate for yourself. You got this. Don't lay down and just take this opinion. And secondly, surrounding yourself with providers and multidisciplinary team that is also advocating for that. I think that's why I wanted to, in the beginning, tell you about like my palliative experience. Because I think most people hear palliative and think like, oh, hospice. And it's like, no, no, no. Like palliative is all about quality of care and advocating for the patient to both advocate that to their provider and also advocate that to their family and friends as they go along and saying, these are the things that I find acceptable and these are the things that I don't. No matter if you live 100 years, I'm okay with this and I'm not okay with this.
Yeah.
I also think that case management is a huge advocate for being able to write letters, talk about navigating payments, talk about navigating insurances, talk about navigating therapies and things like that as far as trying to get acceptances. So I do think that there is a lot of value for people that are in the system that still want to help people and try to navigate some of those caveats that the system has. Um, I just think that you have to have other people that are telling you it's okay. Like I know that today doesn't feel worth it. Today you're tired and you feel like this is a lot and overwhelming, but tomorrow's going to be a better day. And I
Yeah.
think finding people in your corner is what's really important because I think that coming from somebody who's in the system, I get a lot of conversations from patients that say, well, you just don't care, or you just want to charge me money, or you just this, that, and whatever. And I want to say, coming from the bottom of my heart, or somebody who really does want to help others in the best way I can, some days we're just dealing with what we have available. We're always trying to do better. We're always trying to grow in the sense of what care we can provide. And we're always trying to advocate for people for advocating for themselves. So there are good people in the system. Just
Yes.
sometimes you have to find them.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. It's worth
Yes.
it's worth finding them and it's worth advocating for yourself. Because every day of your life is your own. It's not theirs.
Agreed. And you are definitely one of the good ones,
I appreciate that.
without
Thank
doubt.
you. Thanks.
um, and
I thank you so much. That's so nice. I'm blushing
so
over here.
welcome. You have been, I mean, you've been invaluable in um having support, having such huge support. I mean, anybody that knows Kendra knows that if you are, even if you're not friends with Kendra, you don't even have to be friends with Kendra and she's going to have your back. But you've started the GoFundMe for us. You've created these beautiful t-shirts for us. You have advocated for us in every way that you've been able to. You've been open to me sharing all of this information, be like, what does this mean on my medical record? I don't understand it. Like, what does this mean? You've been there because anybody that has dealt with cancer, like it's especially with breast cancer, because you first have the breast looked at. And like with me, it's like, oh, it's stage 2, which was hard enough. And then they're like, oh, just kidding. It's worse. And I was like, oh, great. Fuck. I just caught my breath from last week with that first piece. So when you go through something like this, you just, for a while, you just keep getting call after call of not so great news sometimes. So there were many times where I had to call Kendra and just cry. A lot of friends, I had to cry. I didn't need to be fixed. I didn't need to be told it's going to be okay. I didn't need to be told, calm down. Any of it. I just needed people to let me cry and let me be sad. And the roller coaster of fucking emotions of, Kendra helped me in the very beginning because I actually have, I mean, obviously with what I teach and what I live, I do a lot with my body and I muscle test a lot when it comes to the reconnection with my body. And I was actually talking to Dr. Shemaine Travis's mom recently about my supplements because I muscle test with the supplements on my own right now to educate myself even further on, okay, let's see what my body is asking for more of, what it's asking for less of. And she does it with me as well. But I told her, I'm like, I always forget to muscle test with supplements. Like I always forget like to let my body lead me. But I had muscle tested in the beginning multiple times when we thought it was a cyst. And my body kept telling me it's not cancer. Every time I asked, is this cancer? It would say no. I had other people muscle test me professionally, and they asked, is this cancer? My body said no. And my body has never, ever said yes, that this is cancer. And it created a lot of uncomfortable feelings, especially on top of ones I was already feeling with the diagnosis. It felt like I couldn't trust my body. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm in a body that's at that point, I felt like under attack because that's, I think, kind of the road that you're led down through the medical system as your body's under attack. Your cells are attacking you. Your breast is betraying you. Like you have to fight cancer. You have to battle. You have to go into war. And I never went fully down that path because it just never felt right to me. But I did start to go down this path of like, I can't trust my fucking body. Like, what the fuck? Like, all these times I've asked. And also, as a woman who is educated on this and teaches this, how did I not fucking know that I have stage 4 that I'm healing from? Like, how did I not know? And it's taken a long time for me to come back around. Took me several weeks to come back around and remember my body's right. I might not understand it. And I did so much research. I mean, so much at this point. I was speaking to another cancer survivor who did it naturally, and they joked that in the first, like, well, for them, it was 6 months. The first 6 months of a diagnosis, they had said, I'm pretty sure I know more about cancer, specifically breast cancer, than my doctors do. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. Like, because I've researched Western, but I've also researched way outside of Western. But I've reached a point where maybe I know that they say that it's triple negative, and I trust that, or I guess that's not the word. I buy into that. But I also know that triple negative is them saying, we don't know what this is. We don't know. And so I've had a lot of conversations with women that have triple negative and healed naturally. That's a smaller group of people for sure that I've found. Um, but a lot of them have spoke about how one of the reasons chemo, they consider triple negative to be chemo resistant. Literally, what I was told by my providers in standard of care was we don't know what it is, so we throw the biggest guns at it. We throw the hardest chemo, the hardest stuff at it, and we hope. And sometimes it works, but a lot of times it goes away and comes back more aggressive. And then that's usually when people pass, is because they went through chemo, their body is broken down, their immune system's completely fucking shot, their organs are shot. This cancer comes back with a vengeance because it never really actually fully went away, and then they can't fight it. And they were honest with me with standard of care with that. Oh, no, I can't hear you. Hold on. I got you. I got you, girl. There you go.
Sorry, I'm in Starbucks and they're playing an extra loud song. So I muted
Oh,
myself. I think that's what ticks me off so much about people than wanting to be offended by somebody trying other trial options
yeah.
in the meantime. So if you're saying that everything that we're trying is trial and experimental because we don't quite know the standard of care, why
Yeah.
are you upset about the deviation from standard of care?
Right. Well, and and I feel like we're getting there. I feel like we're getting there because I feel like just like with many things in the world and in the country, there's so much that people are fed up with And they've been affected by, like, I was fed up with our medical system, but then this happened, and now I'm real fed up with our medical system in many ways. But I think we're moving in a different direction because why would standard of care not include nutrition? Because what you eat and what you put in your body is what is going to create the outcome of your life. And like I ate very well, but your girl ate a lot of protein bars with a lot of sugar in them. That's for damn sure. And like I was drinking coffee every morning. Like there's just certain things. I was very stressed of January, February, March of this year and in a lot of pain. Like there's just certain things. And yeah, like with triple negative, talking to these people, some people believe that are survivors that have had it, they've experienced it themselves. Some people believe, oh, well, it is a parasite fully, completely. That's why they can't identify it because that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for, is this a parasite? They're looking for, is this, what type of cancer is this? I've ran into some people that believe that it is a completely other situation. And actually looking into that research, it's very interesting. And I definitely ask that anybody, please do not take our word for anything. Do your own research, educate yourself. I was shocked and appalled by how, first of all, by how many people are diagnosed with cancer that don't actually have cancer. That shocked me. It actually, like, I didn't believe it initially. Um, I was also shocked by how many people pass away by getting chemo and radiation and other medically necessary, and I'm using my fingers right now because it's the second or third leading cause of death in America. It's like heart disease, cancer's coming up right underneath of it. And then Kendra, you can tell me what this word is, I'm sure, because I don't know the word, but it's the word for when people pass away because of what happens with their medical treatments. What's that word? You know what I'm talking about?
Like medical negligence.
It's kinda. It's a different, I can't remember the word, but that's like the third leading cause or the fourth leading cause of death is people having treatments done that they shouldn't have had done. And again, not saying that the doctors like this isn't black and white, this is gray. Most doctors, like most humans, are doing their fucking best and they're doing it with their heart and with integrity and with ethics. Some people aren't. Like there, I learned about on this journey that there was this guy that they nicknamed Dr. Death in like
Oh yeah, from
Minnesota or something.
Texas.
Oh, Texas.
He
Yeah.
practiced in Texas. Oh
And
my
he
God,
just
if anybody wants to watch a documentary, please
is,
watch
is
that
there a
documentary.
documentary?
Also, yeah, there's a surgical documentary and a podcast. This is the tangent. Sorry. I hope everybody's
I
going to
want it.
enjoy it though. Also, I want to tell you that there were many people along the way in the system that tried to make sure that he was, uh, they tried to get in between him and patients.
Yeah.
So he was a surgical resident who did brain and spine surgery, and essentially charmed his way through. I mean, he was able to complete all the medical school stuff, but he actually didn't do a lot of the hands-on residency and hands-on fellowship. He would
Mhm.
basically do like the very basic procedures. And then when he got out and got hired, he would take on the most complicated cases that he had never actually really performed before. And then he got into drugs and alcohol and was coming in like drunk and on drugs. And essentially, when this would come to light and nurses would get in between him and patients and like not allow him to finish the surgery, the hospitals would say, "Listen, you have to go. You have to leave immediately," but then would never report him to the board of medicine. So he made it through a few different hospitals prior to, and there was one doctor that was like, "Something's not right. Something is wrong with you." And then he followed him to subsequent hospitals with the board of medicine until he had his license revoked, so that he could not harm other people. Like he made it
Wow.
his life's mission to try to intervene. Now, given this is like one case, I've worked with, like I said, I've been in healthcare for 20 years. I've worked with many, 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 many physicians. I many people would lay down their life for patients. Like
Yes.
I think that some people are like, people are just trying to kill us on purpose. And it's like, no. But people are human. And I think there are people that are wrong. And there are people that are stuck in the 70s when it comes to what the education they're provided and have
Yep.
taken that for truth from here on out. And I think that that also leads some of their treatments. And I think that's why we should continue to find people that are open-minded, that are asking the right questions, that are telling me, well, why do you feel that way? Like, look at how many women who want to have hysterectomies or tubals because they don't want to have children, and people just will refuse to give it to them. I
Yeah.
think that when people say, no, I've done this and this research, this is why, this is what's happening. I know a woman who had to make a slideshow. She made a PowerPoint presentation and took to her surgeon, and they finally gave her surgery. Now, like I said, with that being said, I don't think we should proceed into any sort of surgeries or anything invasive without there being good reason, because anytime that happens, there's risk of complication and risk of something being worse off than what you originally had issues with,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to like cosmetic reconstruction, all these different kinds of things that might not be medically necessary.
Yeah.
um, but yes, there are crazy, crazy stories out there like Dr. Death. You really should listen to the podcast and watch the documentary. It's great. But I do, like I said, I really, really believe there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. I also think there are so many TikToks out now about doctors attacking insurance companies because
Yes, and I
they know that the
love that.
system is wrong. Oh my God. Dr. Elizabeth Potter is one of the huge
Yes.
advocates. She's been going to Washington. She's been advocating for people being able to be honest and put the truth out there about what's happening with these types of companies.
Yep.
So I think, long story short, don't lose faith in the community as a whole.
Yep.
If you run into somebody who is a bad egg, or if you run into somebody who you feel like is not advocating for you in the correct way, yes, keep
Yes.
advocating for yourself. No, never take what they say as pure truth. But there are people out there who will listen to you and will try to help you as best they can, because we do
Yeah.
exist.
Absolutely. And it's important, I have found, for me to sit with what they tell me, especially like the prognosis that they gave me. It wasn't
Mhm.
good. And to sit with it and ask myself, is that really what I believe to be true? And it took an immediate, no, that's not true. That's what they believe. And that has grown as I've educated myself. The ability for me to say, that's not my truth. That's what you believe to be true, especially when it comes to prognosis, because those statistics are, first of all, generic.
Mhm.
And also, that prognosis is based off of people who did what you told them to do.
Mhm.
I found, huge plug, not sponsored, but one day I will work with these women. Radical Remission. I found the book, and there's also the book Radical Hope, and there's the podcast Radical Remission Stories That Heal. And it is just keep person after person that had any type of cancer or diseases of most kind. Like I've seen a couple different ones, but mostly cancer. And it's people who chose a path that is a little bit less traditional, whether they did standard of care and then it didn't work for them, or if they were in my case and they were told, well, the short amount of time we're giving you, you'd have to do chemo for the rest of your life. And I was like, get fucked. How's that sound? Like, just to say it out loud, that's not life for me. That's not quality of life. Charging me $400,000, which I found out would be the amount of time they told me I would be alive if I did chemo. You're not going to make me do that. And you're not going to convince me that that's it, because I've done my research and I know that there's other ways and there's other people. And if they can do it, I can do it. That's for damn sure. If they can heal themselves, I know for a fucking fact I can heal myself. So, like,
Yeah, I
being
think
in
we
that,
had,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I'm sorry. I think we
No,
had that
go.
conversation before, where I think if the conversation would have been, okay, so we think this is literally just to shrink this thing, and then you would be a surgical candidate. Like, our
Yeah.
recommendation is a very short period of time, and then you'll live a long, happy life. I think that these kinds of conversations make good sense. But I think when the option is, well, just forever, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
how long? And you're like, well, this time. And you're like, if forever is the answer, then what kind of quality of life is that forever? I
Yeah.
think I do understand why women have make the decision to go ahead and pursue chemo and surgery when it's like, oh, we just need some shrinkage. We'll cut, like, sure. I can see
Absolutely.
why people choose that path. I can also 100% see why you chose the path that you chose. And
Yeah.
I think that anybody else who doesn't understand it, like, can kind of can walk.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I've had an enormous amount of support And that's been one of the biggest things. Like everybody for the most part. There's been a few outliers that really pushed me for chemo. There's been some people that pushed me to do chemo in the beginning or was giving me their opinions on it, saying you just need to do this. And then they changed their mind when they did their own education and research. So I would say 80% of the people in my life have supported it from the very beginning. Like my father was terrified. Like, and he still is struggling, as any father would be if their daughter was going through this. But like he and so many others were just like, it's you, it's your body, this is your journey. And like the people that are throwing the benefit for me, my family's throwing just this big, beautiful benefit for me later this year. And like even with that, my dad's like, you are in charge. Like you're our boss. You're the one that's going into this battle and you're going to win it. And we are the army standing behind you. So you tell us what you need, when you need it, how you need it, and we're here. And that has been invaluable to me because, as we were going through the process, waiting to get that full diagnosis, the full piece of it, like we're stage 2, just kidding, stage 4, like all these things, as that was happening, that changes the course of action that you take. Like every time we learn new information, we're like, okay, we still are going to do integrative no matter what. No matter what, I'm going to change my diet radically. No matter what, I'm going to juice all the vegetables that are known to be anti-cancer and drink that shit every day. No matter what, I'm going to no longer eat sugar, no longer have coffee, which has sucked so bad. P.S. That's been the worst is no coffee.
Okay, but
Like
I've been drinking coffee while we talk
it's
now, and I
okay.
feel
I
terrible.
No, don't feel terrible. I need it. Travis ate a burger and fries in front of me yesterday, and he's like, "Do you want me to eat it?" I'm like, "I
I'm
need you to,
oh, vicariously through you, like just watching.
dude. I need you to know the truth, Kendra. When Travis is gonna laugh so hard when he hears this, when he eats certain foods like that, I make him breathe on me after he takes the bite. I swear to you, he just like." My family thinks it's hilarious. I'm like, I just need to smell it right now. I'm still in that season. One day I'll be over it, but right now,
Future.
80% of my favorite foods and drinks. Like, I don't get to have mimosas with brunch
Who
anymore. I don't
who
even get
would
to
have
have
told
brunch.
you when you got married that that would be your new foreplay?
It's immediately, I'm like, that's why I love you right there.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so many things I want to touch on here. I don't want to overload this. I'm sure I'm going to be talking to you guys about this a lot more as this is really the focus of my life right now. I've taken an enormous step back from work. Um, and thank you guys all for your support in that. And please know, I know I have a very long list of emails and messages that I have not touched, and I'm getting there. I wasn't ready to tell anybody for a while. I needed to just process it myself with Trav. And also, it's just really overwhelming. The support and the love is overwhelming in the best way possible, but talking to person over and over again about what's going on, that becomes very exhausting and very overwhelming very quickly. So I will be getting back to you guys in the emails and the messages and everything. Just give me some time. Um, but I wanted to go back. We said so many incredible things and brought up so many incredible things. I wanted to talk about when it comes to the body and letting the body heal itself and trusting the body to heal itself. Um, I would ask if anybody's interested at all in researching beyond just the little bubble of Western medicine. If you wanted to look at the way that other countries are successfully, and when I say successfully, I'm not saying the tumor shrank, but they still died, or they lived, but they were in hospice. That's not what I personally am considering successful. When I do research, I am looking for success of long, healthy, amazing lives. No evidence of disease, no reoccurrence. And I know that's a big ask for that word, but to me, that's what successful is in a situation like this. Go look into German New Medicine. Just educate yourself a little bit if you'd like. Um, that is very based in the understanding of how important nutrition is and what you put in your body, of course. And I've made shit ass decisions like we all have. I used to be a smoker. When Kendra met me, I was drinking whiskey and smoking cigarettes way more than I should. I have eaten a lot of food truck meals. I fucking love it. I'm a foodie. I love eating all sorts of food from all different places. Some of it's not good. Some of it's just plastic that looks like food. Um, Some of it is genetically modified. It's not real food. And of course, your body's going to be like, hey, I'm full, but I'm also starving for nutrients because what you put in me is not real food at all. Um, but German New Medicine focuses on that. It focuses on all the things I was talking about, eating the fruits and vegetables that you know are anti-cancer, the superfoods. I make a shake every morning that has like 12 to 14 different powders in it, and it has kelp, it has mushrooms, it has all these things. Shout out also to my friend Josh McAdee in the Quad Cities. If you are looking for mushrooms and turkey tail and cordyceps and tinctures, he just sent me the most amazing package with some as a gift, and he's an amazing human and he advocates for incredible things. Please go order from him. I'll give you his info, just message me. Um, but putting all these things into your system to support your system. And like if you step back and you think about it, it makes so much more sense. And again, I'm about to talk about things from my perspective. You don't have to have this perspective. Trigger warning. It makes no sense to me to put poison in your body to heal your body. That doesn't make sense to me. It makes sense to put poison in with the purpose, like Kendra said, to help get rid of something. But from my perspective, especially after doing certain types of research and reaching out to people who are educated in this way more than I am, with things like German New Medicine, it it basically teaches your body's not dumb. Your body is innately intelligent. Your body knows what it's doing. And when cancer shows up, it's telling you there's an imbalance. And there's an imbalance with food, there's an imbalance with your energy, there's an imbalance with your emotions. You've been holding on to shit, not letting it go. And it's now your body's saying, hey, this is happening. But it's also a biological pattern, is what I've learned. Again, this is not Western medicine. You don't have to believe a damn word I'm saying. Biologically speaking, it speaks about how the reason the cells, what's that word, proliferate? Is that the correct word?
Yes.
Yep, the reason they grow real fast is because the body is sending a signal. There's been a button that was pushed. So like with breast cancer, um, it talked about if it's in the ducts. That's one of the pieces I was reading about because that's where they say mine is currently. There is an emotional piece in the right breast of a right-handed woman that something's being pulled from your breast. It also usually means something to do with a partner, not necessarily romantic, but somebody that's close to you. But there's usually a lot of grief. There's usually some sort of like a betrayal or a sudden impact. In German New Medicine, they believe that all cancers, all diseases, but especially all cancers start emotionally with a shocking event that shocks your system and it breaks down your immune system, mind, body, and soul understanding. So, like with the ducts, they say that it's a biological pattern that happens properly. The body is proliferating these cells because it recognizes if something was ripped from your breast, if there's some sort of grieving, then it needs to shut down certain systems or turn on certain systems more than we currently understand and more than we've researched. And to me, as I have been studying German New Medicine, it makes more sense to me because it feels very similar, again, in my perspective, to if we look back to when we used to give people lobotomies for anxiety. That's kind of how I see personally chemo and radiation, especially in positions like mine. That's just as barbaric to me as doing a fucking lobotomy on somebody that has anxiety or that has something like there's so many other ways we could approach that. And with German New Medicine, that's why I've really leaned even harder than I would have anyways, because I'm a deep believer that everything needs to be approached from a mind, body, and soul perspective. Learning that has taught me like there are certain things, there's even shit that I didn't forgive Travis for. Travis and I have had 10 years together and we've gone through shit like everyone else has. And there's shit that I held on. There's shit that I never fully forgave. There's some fucking resentment that I had for sure. And no matter how much work we all do, even if we're a fucking self-worth coach, there's shit we have to do, which PS was a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow when you do this for a living and then you have stage 4 cancer and you know it's connected to your emotions. You're like, well, I should shut the fuck up then because I got to deal with my own stuff now. But it's really, really fascinating. Again, this is only for those who have an open mind and who want to go beyond Western medicine. German New Medicine has been invaluable to me. And actually, if you are interested, if you just type in German New Medicine on YouTube, if you want a quick, easy way to learn a little bit about it, there's actually a really amazing woman who does German New Medicine 101, and it's a whole course for free on YouTube. And there's even one specifically about breast cancer, and that was really helpful to kind of introduce me to it. Another route that we take, of course, is traditional Chinese medicine. I'm a big believer in acupuncture, and I've become an even bigger believer after having an incredible mother-in-law who is educated on all of this and in Western medicine. You remind me so much of her, Kendra. It's wild. You guys are going to love each other so much. She was a nurse. She did ER, she did infants, she did all these things. And then eventually she's like, this system is too broken for me to be a part of. I need to go figure out a new way to help people. And she moved into where she's at now. And the acupuncture that I received from her has been so good, especially for the pain. And also just to help my energy. There has been a lot that I've focused on how to get my energy to flow correctly. That's one of the reasons I do Tai Chi. That's one of the reasons I do Qigong. I also go to a medical Qigong energy worker, and she's been invaluable. Shout out to Mary in Ankeny, Iowa. That woman's an actual miracle worker. It's amazing. So I just wanted to throw out there, there's more than we've been taught, I think is my biggest thing I want to say here. And Kendra's said it a few times as well. Like, you have to have an open mind. Oh, you don't have to. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But having an open mind allows you to see that there's more out there than you've been told and you've been taught, and you get to get out of the box, and you don't have to live with small amounts of information. Because I know if I would have went into this narrow-mindedly and without the desire to learn and educate myself and research, I would have done things I didn't want to do out of fear, without doubt. I would have felt like a victim of circumstance. Because how often, I mean, for me, it's been a few times now, but how often for the listener have you heard of, or maybe even yourself, if you've had a cancer diagnosis, had them say, oh, there's nothing you can do. Cancer just happens. It's nothing you did. I'm here to say with love, yes, it is something you did. It might be something you didn't do. And when you take responsibility and accountability for what's happening within yourself and within your body, you recognize that you're not a victim of circumstance. You actually are responsible for it. And if you created it and your body created it, your body can stop it and your body can heal. And if you created it, you can take necessary steps to move the other direction. Does it suck that I don't get to eat birria tacos and birria ramen from the food trucks anymore? Yeah, that fucking blows real hard. Not a fan. Sucks that I can't have coffee. Sucks that I can't have pasta with Alfredo sauce and garlic bread with cheese. And I'm drooling now and I'm salivating everywhere. But like, yeah, that sucks. But I know that this is a new chapter of my life that will lead me down a healthier path than I've ever been down. I mean, I already feel the healthiest I've ever felt. I mean, all the superfoods I eat every single day. I had a woman who's a survivor from triple negative that healed naturally. She also was told she was inoperable, so she couldn't have anything removed. She chose no chemo, no radiation. In 7 to 8 months, she reduced the size so much. She had multiple lesions. She reduced the size of the large one so much she can get a lumpectomy, and 3 of the other ones completely disappeared. And she told me, do not take a vacation because cancer doesn't. Every day you do what you need to do. Every day you stay consistent and you stay dedicated, especially on the days that you don't fucking want to. Don't care. Do it anyways. And that's been those conversations with people that have been in my shoes and are on the other side of it have been invaluable, because she knows what it's like to give up all your favorite foods and to have to do all these things. But I would choose this over, personally, I would choose this over chemo and radiation 10 times out of 10, because I have taken so much responsibility for my actions, my feelings. I have forgiven so many people in the last month, and I thought I had been. I thought I knew, not thought, I knew I had been. I had been doing forgiveness ceremonies. I had forgiven people. But when you are faced with your own mortality and you are given certain types of prognosis, again, not that I believe it, but hearing those words from somebody, your gut drops into your ass and you just, something shifts in you and you just decide blank slate for everybody. Like that doesn't mean certain people get access to me. That's for damn sure, but a new type of forgiveness. So just know I'm here if you want to reach out. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice at all. And please read the book Chris Beat Cancer was a saving grace. The book Radical Remission, Radical Hope. Actually, let me just pull up. I don't have all of my physical books with me, but let me just give you guys a list from just Audible because maybe this would be helpful. German New Medicine books. There's many of those out there. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure that this doesn't start playing. There's one called Heart Minded, How to Hold Yourself and Others in Love from Sarah Blondin. My medical Qigong practitioner recommended it. It's really good for forgiveness. Even if you don't think you need to forgive somebody, read the book. At the end of every book, there's a meditation. It's incredible. What else do we have here? Oh, Cancer is Not a Disease. It's a hard read because it makes you have to take responsibility for your actions. It's a hard read because it gives you the actual facts and statistics that you can then go research yourself about not just our current medical system, but let's go above the medical system. It gives you facts and statistics about big pharma and our insurance companies and how they play a huge part in how you are treated, how you are not treated. And I'll let you read that. The Metabolic Approach to Cancer is another good one. Cancer by Louise Hayes is a good one. Cured by Jeffrey Redlinger, MD is a good one. I'm going to keep giving them to you guys. Just take a bunch of notes. Love, Medicine, and Miracles. A shout out to Jessie Sexton in Sevierville, Tennessee, a woman I met when I was down there. She's incredible. She owns Wanderlust. It's a great salon. She recently was diagnosed and she is now on the other side of it. And she recommended that book. How to Starve Cancer by Jane McLelland. Let's see, what else do we have here? I think that's it on my audiobooks. So just know it's a lot of books to read or listen to.
And if you
But
missed that, I'm sure she'll probably put them in the show notes too. So I know that that's hard to make notes sometimes, but I'm sure they'll be included below when this is all done.
They will. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I hope that if you or your loved one, and again, hearing the statistic that 1 in 2 people are affected by cancer or are diagnosed, this has become a new life mission for me. I have been put on a path now where initially I felt wholeheartedly that one of my biggest purposes in life is to help women heal themselves in all ways. When I started to have the flashbacks and memories come forward about sexual abuse and rape as a child, at that moment, my life shifted and I was like, my purpose is to help people that have been through sexual abuse. My purpose is to help people heal from that because I don't know what's worse, cancer or being sexually abused as a child. They're fucking hand in hand. They're both pretty terrible. And now recently with this, I just feel like if I can help one person, if I can help one person have hope and recognize that they can heal and you don't have to fight cancer if you want to, if that's the perspective you want to have of fight, battle, war. But remember, you're going up in battle against yourself because those cells are still you. That breast is still you. Prostate, testicular, whatever cancer, that's still you. That's your body. And maybe seeing that your body's begging you for help to heal instead of your body's trying to kill you. And maybe open your heart to that. And maybe open your heart to, oh, there's other ways than just the only singular path I've ever known. Because I deeply believe, and I've talked to Kendra about this, in 50 years, we will look back on some of this and say that was barbaric, just like lobotomies. Mm-hmm. I mean, we used to have cocaine in our medicine, you guys, and they really believed that was the only way. We used to do lobotomies. Like, this is something I deeply believe we're going to look back on and be like, whoops. I don't think we should have done that as often as we did. And there are times and places for it. Like Kendra said, poison does sometimes have purpose, but please empower yourself. I guess that's the big thing. Please be empowered. Please have hope. Please know that healing is possible. Please know you don't have to go at this in the sense of fighting and war and you can go a different path. And I'm living fucking proof, which is wild to me. I believed so deeply alongside of everybody that supported me that this protocol was going to work. People that I've never met in my whole life that have been praying for me, all types of religion, all types of spirituality, all types of belief, which thank you all. That's been like the most incredible thing in the world to have people that I've never met in my life from all over the world praying for me. And it's all because of you guys and my clients, because like that didn't happen because of my little small town. Like it's all of you guys. Um, but just know that deep belief and this protocol, all the things, not just one, everything played a piece to have tumors shrink in a month. I mean, Kendra, how often does that happen?
Well, not very often. And I do think that I think that as you continue to go, and I think that, the surgeon that you were talking to who was willing to do some more scanning, I think that you get another scan in 6 months, and I think you're
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
see even more shrinkage,
Oh, without doubt.
realistically. And
Do
I
you?
I know, oh, you first.
No, you first.
I just want to put out there because I know it's not something that you really feel comfortable talking about. But we talk about how broken the system is, and we talk about how, insurances and things aren't really necessarily available for treatment. But I want to let you guys know that when all this is said and done, the show notes are going to include a GoFundMe that I started for Heather. Because when it comes down to it, like this is the beginning of her journey. And no matter what she's choosing, and no matter whether you agree with it or not, like all of these things are going to come down to the fact that um, money's still money's still important, and no matter whatever treatment that we do.
Yeah.
So if you resonated with this, if you have somebody who's experienced cancer, if any of this could help you or someone else that you know, please give if you can and share if you can't. But we're going to include that as well because I know that I think that when we ask for money for ourselves, it's really difficult. But I have no shame because I love you so much and I want to see you helped in any way that you can.
I love you too. Thank you. And it is weird. It's really weird to ask for financial help because of something like this. But you definitely have helped me with that, especially recently. You know, I know what I do for work, quote unquote. It doesn't feel like work most of the time. But I know what I do is, unique. Not a lot of people do it. At least not a lot of people we know coming from small town USA. Like we don't know a whole lot of people that do what I do. I forget that I help people sometimes. Like I know that I do, but I forget that I do. Um, and earlier when you told me, like, just think of how many people reached out to you and were brave enough to ask for your help, and then you were able to, that really helped me kind of become even more settled with it. Because it's really difficult to ask for financial help. It's easier for me to ask for other types of help, but financial help is difficult. And it makes no sense to me why none of this is covered under insurance, but it also does, unfortunately. It does make sense. But I really appreciate any help anybody can give. Like you said, even if it's just kind words, even if it's just sharing, if you are able to help financially, that's incredible. And thank you so much. But I think the biggest thing right now that I'm feeling in my heart that I want to say is please share this podcast with anybody that's been affected by cancer. I just want them to know that there's other roads they can take. And you don't have to pick just one. Life is never black and white, ever. Life is gray. In the beginning, I was talking to Kendra about integrative, about, okay, well, maybe I should do chemo and radiation. Maybe I should integrate it with this. Like, if you want to do one or the other, that's fine, but you can do all of it. You don't have to do just one thing. Integrative oncologists do exist, and they are so smart. It takes such a level of brilliance to recognize that Western medicine is a singular slice of an entire pizza, and to be educated on all of it helps the human being that you are working with so much more because we're not just a body, we're not just a mind, and we're not just a soul. We're all of these things intertwined. And integrative oncology is, I mean, that's something that you might want to look into, maybe. But just know that if you are listening to this, there is hope. please go listen to the Radical Remission what is it? Stories That Heal podcast. That has been almost as invaluable to me as the support from friends and family. Hearing stories of people that some of them started standard of care, it didn't work, so then they did alternative and found remission. Some of them did just like me, just fully holistic, non-toxic, and achieved radical remission, no evidence of disease in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. And all of these stories from people are so full of hope. And if there's anything that I believe that we need if we get a cancer diagnosis, we need hope. We need hope that just because a statistic says something doesn't mean anything, because we're not a statistic. So we're a human. And just because somebody might believe that you are too far past and you're not going to make it doesn't mean you have to believe that. And if you choose to have hope, even when there's no reason to, even when it feels like it's crazy, that could be what heals you. Hope and belief that you can heal. I mean, if you go listen to that podcast, you'll know what I mean. That's one of the biggest pieces for most people that came on the other side and are thriving now. They don't call themselves survivors, they call themselves thrivers because they're the healthiest they've ever been. They fucking juiced and ate vegetables and ate right and did all this healing, and now they're literally the healthiest they've ever been. And every single one of them, they talk about hope and how you have to believe that healing is possible. You have to give up the idea that you're fighting against your body, and you have to support it and love it. And if this resonates with you and you're listening to this because somebody sent it to you, plug that fucking person, dude. Because if somebody sent you this podcast because they want you to know that there's hope, that person fucking loves you. Like, I have Kendra, I have all these amazing people in my life. I have Travis, I have my family, and they have been sending me everything. Kendra sends me so much stuff all the time to help me have more hope. And it's such a beautiful way for somebody to tell you that they love you and they're thinking of you and that they want you to know that you're going to make it. Um, is there anything else that you want to add, Kendra?
No, I love you so much. I love you. I love all of the bravery that it took for you to say this out in the universe, out on the internet, and to other people. And I think you're really going to touch some people's lives that are going through similar situations and feel like they don't have anybody in their corner. And just know that you do. Like, we're in your corner. I know you don't know us, but like, reach out to us because we're in your corner. And advocating for yourself in the way that you want to live your life is the only way to go forward in your future. Because when it comes down to it, no matter how much time any of us have, it's our choice and our experience of how we live it. And so we should live it the way that we want to. And we should live it filled with love and family, and we should trust our body. I love you so much and for being brave enough to do that for yourself. I'm so glad that you have stood up for yourself along the way. And if there's any days that you feel like you can't, you know that I'm there with you because I will.
I love you so
And
much.
I'm so thankful for you including me in this, and I'll be there with you every step of the way.
Thank you, babe. Yeah, who knew when I started brazen that the universe would be like, let's see how brazen, bitch.
Oh yeah, it has a way of doing that. When you ask and you tell it that you're ready to heal in a certain way, it tends to drop shit in your lap you don't expect. But I really do think that you're going to touch other people's lives that don't feel like they have the ability to advocate for themselves and to make it through in a different way. And I think that this is going to make a big change. I think we talked before about ripples in the water. You know, I think that this is your ability to ripple and change down the line. And I really do believe that that's true.
Me too. And when I finish writing this book, this part of my book, whatever it turns into, a whole different one or just a lot of chapters, I'm really excited to have you put pieces in there as well, because you've been a really, really big piece of this for me. And Travis and I love you so much and are so grateful for you.
I love you so much too.
Okay. How do we want them to go out and be good to themselves and others today?
I really just think that taking that love that we say we want to take for ourselves and passing it on to somebody else. I know that I think it's so easy for us to be angry about our situations. And I think that if we can put that aside and we can really give something audibly to somebody, telling them that they like their eyebrows or telling them
Yeah.
that I hope they have a fantastic day, opening that door for somebody, I think that spreading those positive vibes to others, especially strangers, is a great way for us to live our life and to bring ourselves joy as well as others.
Agreed. Just a quick side note. You know how I am with compliments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of a freak about them. Like I make people
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable sometimes with them.
Yeah.
We were at Costco this past weekend and I was walking back to the cooler and I saw this woman. You could tell she was feisty and she had the coolest jewelry on. Um, like big gold hoops, big gold necklace, like all this stuff. And I walked by her, I'm like, I fucking love your jewelry. And she was like, girl, thank you. And she handed me a lanyard, and she has her own podcast as well. And so we started talking, and she started it like most of us do. We were in the process of healing, and we also wanted to help someone, and we wanted our voice to be bigger than it was, and like all these other reasons. And we just became quick friends. And she is such an amazing lady. She's a bit older than I am, so she has more wisdom, and she's way funnier than I am. She's so fucking funny. But now I get to help her find a new house to live in or a new place. And like it's just been a really cool situation. And it literally started because I told her I loved her jewelry. And that's, I mean, I am such a big advocate for giving people compliments. It can save somebody. And when you were talking, it made me think of it. When we walked out, we ended up seeing her at checkout again. So we walked out with her and she said again, thank you so much for complimenting me. She's like, you don't know how much that's going to change someone's day. And she's like, I did what you did. I went and complimented a mom. The baby was having a meltdown and the mom was so patient. This lady's so funny. She's like, I was not that fucking patient with my babies when they were that young. She's like, I did not do that. And she's like, I'm just so happy. And she turned and looked at us after like joking. And she said, and sometimes it helps people if they were thinking about committing suicide. And I didn't ask her what depth that meant for her, but it just really hit me because I was like, for real though, like somebody could be considering something that's really difficult, and just telling them that you love their clothes, their hair, their smile could actually change their life. And it takes no money or no energy, no effort, and it could literally save someone's life. So thank you for bringing that up. Um, I'm gonna say something real woo woo. This is real woo woo, and this is for the people out there that are healing from cancer. When it comes to loving yourself, one thing that I have been doing is holding the tumor and like literally like getting in there, and I tell it that I love it and that I forgive it and that I forgive myself for anything I did to get here or anything I didn't do. And I tell it that it's okay to leave, but if it's not ready to leave, that's okay too. But I still love it. And there's a prayer. I've seen it all over the place. And then synchronistically, it fell in my lap again recently, and it's an older one. And it's, I love you. No, it's, please forgive me. Hold on, let me think. Let me think for a second. What is it? Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. What's the first one? Forgive me? I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes. But it's basically, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And there's something else in the beginning. And I've been saying that and telling the cells and telling my breast, I love you. And what happens is much like what's happening here. It gets very emotional and it gets very healing. And sending that love is more than just standing in a mirror and saying, I love myself, or saying that affirmation with no real emotion behind it. Having to physically grab that area. And for me, especially because of the size of it, I can feel it. But sometimes if you have a situation like this, like it might be in an area where you can't necessarily feel the tumor itself, but just placing your hand on your body in that area and sending love that way. I just want to remind all of us, and myself included, love is what heals. Hatred doesn't heal, fear doesn't heal, war doesn't heal, battling doesn't heal. None of that heals. Love heals, forgiveness heals. And forgiving myself and my body and sending, which might sound wild to people. I've told some people, they're like, you tell the cancer that you love it. I'm like, yeah, I do. I tell it that I love it. I get my hands all up in that tumor and I just hold that like a little baby. And I'm like, I love you. It's okay. We're going to be fine. And I think that that level of self-love and love for your body is something that I never have experienced before. And it has been life changing that is. So if you are moving through this, maybe consider loving yourself that way. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for your support and your love and your messages and your emails and all of the things. I will be posting. I think I'm thinking about posting the information about my benefit. I know a lot of my clients have already told me that few of them that live all around the world, they're like, I'm gonna fucking be there whenever it is. And I'm like, that's wild. That's wild that my clients from different countries are gonna come to little old Milan, Illinois, and they're going to come to a benefit. Um, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that want to support me, and I've been told recently that this is the time for me to receive and to not cut that off anywhere.
Mhm.
So I am open to people coming if you'd like to come. It's just crazy to me. And I'm going to put all the books in the show notes. I'm going to put information from Kendra in the show notes. There's going to be a lot in there, and I just want you guys to know I'm open to talk. I can't tell you what to do with your body. I can't tell you what choices to make. I'm not a doctor. It's not medical advice. Um, but I can tell you what I've done, and I can tell you what has worked for me and worked for the survivors that I've spoke to. And if nothing else, maybe I can give you some hope. Any last words, Kendra?
No, well said, girl. I love you so much.
I love you too. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us.